I mean, that's our number one recovery tool, but unfortunately, that's what not only college age people, but still me, struggle with most. So, I mean, a simple thing like, hey, I want to try to get to bed every night by 11 and be up by 7, just so my body's in a good routine. Well, I'll let you guys. I mean, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, with sleep, since running is so demanding, it's so hard on the body, like every day, because we run every day. We do, bare minimum, 8 miles, like every day almost. It's like 5.
Depending on
yeah,
the
I mean,
person,
it's a lot of running, so the sleep is really important for the recovery. And if you don't get good sleep consistently, you feel it. I know from personal experience. And so, like, it's definitely something that we got to work on as a team. And then other little things is just, we have stretches, circuits we call them, which are basically just dynamic stretches, some weight room stuff. Like all that is really important, which I think the guys have done mostly a good job with that in years past, but just we know that like every little thing will help.
Any little thing come to mind for you?
I mean, yeah, definitely sleep and nutrition for sure. And I would say like within the team, just having like a positive mindset with like between each other, like we're not competing like against each other, we're working with each other and just trying to improve ourselves and not making it a competition within the team, and kind of I think would lead to like a negative team environment. So really just focusing on being the best version of yourself and just yeah.
Yeah, the thing with running too is it's such an individualistic sport because you're out there by yourself, just 3 miles or whatever of 4.5, I guess 4.9 of just pain, and so it's very easy to get your teammates, like compete against your teammates. You see them every day, especially if you talk trash to them. It's sort of friendly competition, but focusing on like opponents, the actual other teams, and beating them too is something that we're really trying to work on for the guys, because if we're racing against each other every day, it does create the sort of negative vibe as Carolyn was talking about. So lifting each other up as much as we can while also being competitive, it's a tough balance to strike, but if we can do that, I think that is how we get the best results.
One other thing that really ties into this, and I think Carolyn and Sid, every meeting I mention this, and the team gets probably sick of me saying it, but patience. I feel like, especially when we come in and everyone's had a great summer, our first couple workouts and races, people are really like wanting to prove themselves. But again, it's like we want to prove ourselves in November, and I think it's good to be excited and push, and we'll have some workouts that we can really get after. But I think that's always kind of my message, especially when we have both teams have great potential, just trying to be like, all right, let's just focus on today so we can get to tomorrow and be better. So I think that's a big thing too. And I think just that positive culture, we want a competitive team. I mean, we're going to have, a roster of 30 women and a roster of 24 men. And I think it's going to be very deep. So that's going to be a challenge to get on the roster. Then conference, we're able to run our top 12, which that's going to be, a challenge to get in that top 12. Right. And then, at conference or at regionals, we're able to run our top 7. So I think that competitiveness is very good if it's healthy. Thinking long back to 2015 when the men's team won nationals, he ended up being a captain the next year, a guy by the name of Brendan Posek, very good runner, came into my office as a sophomore, and he's like, Dan, my goal is to, be in the top 7, and run at nationals. But he's like, if I don't make the top 7, I just want to make the top 7 better. And I thought that was awesome. And that was kind of the culture there, and that was why that team was so good.
With all this experience back and all this success that we talked about, do you feel like this team could kind of hit the ground running a little bit ahead of where it has been in previous seasons?
Yeah, I hope so. And I mean, I think the great thing about, you know, our conference, it's incredibly competitive. So, you know, we start off with a time trial, then we have our alumni meet. Those are both pretty low-key, almost, you know, workout efforts. But then we'll be at St. Olaf, which St. Olaf has a very good team on both the women's side and the men's side, and they're hosting the North Regional this year. So I think it'll be good to get in that early season environment where there's some very solid teams, you know, from our region and teams that we're going to have to beat to move on to nationals. And yeah, my hope is, you know, we're in, you know, that'll give us a good gauge. But those early meets, when you're kind of talking about what we do, the first few meets, we really try to figure out. Every year, the strategy's a little bit different. We try to work as a team, you know, as far as our race strategy. But that's different every year. So the first few races, we can kind of hone that. It's almost like a dress rehearsal where if we mess up in that race, that's fine. I mean, we learn from it and move forward. But yeah, I'm hoping we can get out of the gates running fast.
Yeah. Yeah, might be giving away some racing tactics here, but we really want to focus on running as a pack, which is something that the girls team does a fantastic job of doing that. Like, they all run together for most of the race, whereas the guys within like a mile and a half, we're all spread out. So we're just really trying to focus on the workout groups that we get through those first two meets, those workout efforts, those workout groups, sticking with that for Olaf for the start of the race. And then if you can work with your teammates, that's a lot better than running alone and working with some random guy that you don't know. So that's something that we're really trying to work on. And if we can keep that going into those big races at the end of the year, that really helps, because it helps with the jitters and sort of, you know, that mile two you might be feeling bad, but if you're with your pack, it's a lot easier to keep it going and run until you start to feel good again. So just working on that is big.
Yeah.
So you guys have been talking a lot about the team mentality. Can you just speak to, I guess, how is the team dynamic potentially different this year, same, improved, as opposed to last year, especially when you have so many people return?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, every year it evolves. Like, I'm just thinking of, I mean, we just graduated Connor Dolan, who I think he was a captain for 4 years on the team because of COVID.
I think it was like 3, but I mean, he was also captain. He was a sophomore, basically, you know.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
no.
yes,
So-
and now he's out at Northern Colorado in grad school, and because of COVID, he's going to be able to finish up his final season of track out there, which is, I think, really cool. But, you know, he was kind of heart and soul of the men's team, but I think it's kind of cool. He was always like the leader, and now I think there's going to be some new leaders emerging, which will be fun. It'll be a new dynamic, and, you know, same with on the women's side. I mean, we have a lot of returners, but on the women's side we have 12 incoming freshmen, so it's like it'll be really just kind of fun that first couple weeks. You know, I think you kind of have that storming, norming, and performing, hopefully by the end of the season. But the first few weeks are sometimes, you know, rocky but good at the same time. And I guess it'll definitely be different than last year's team, because it always is. But I'm just excited because we've got a good core network of returners coming back that I think are on the same page, and they kind of, you know, I try to do, I guess, as little as possible team culture. I mean, I try to be active, but it's more from these people, you know, and if there's an issue, I help, but it's kind of, especially at Manitou, I'm excited because we're doing a few new things this year that I think will be fun, especially for the incoming freshmen.
Thank you guys for your time.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Keep this. Nice.
Put it in your scrapbook.
Yeah, I just bring it to every class and just put it on my desk. Thanks, guys.
Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know what they're doing in the locker room, but it stinks.
It's the epoxy, they put it down on the floor. Who up next?
Then soccer. And that's.
He's in the building, right?
Yep. It's just in his office.
Vikings had a trade today.
Yeah, Nick Mullins,
Yeah, QB.
got a backup.
Kellen Mond throwing picks on the first and last drive might have done something.
I think so.
Do I have a minute? Do I have a minute?
Yeah.
Monday. I know, it is something there. I know, it's like, so far from. I'm parked so far away, you don't even wanna know.
Guys.
Perfect. Same as last year, basically?
Cool. It's nice water. Oh.
All right, now we're gonna switch gears and we've got men's soccer. We have head coach Casey Holm and Cooper Roberts. Coach, you wanna start with just kinda giving your preseason overview and kind of expectations, and then as you're chatting, just make sure you pull that in front of you.
Sounds good. Yeah, so what is it, day 3 today?
Yeah, day 3.
Day 3. Preseason overview, we have 32 guys on the roster. Basically exactly what it was last year. We have 13 new faces to the program and 19 returning players from last year's inaugural roster. We have 3 transfers, and the rest are actually 4 transfers. We just added 1, and the rest are freshmen. So very, very excited to roll out year 2. We feel we've grown quite a bit, obviously gotten older. The transfers will help out quite a bit, especially on our back line. And yeah, that's pretty much it to start.
Coach, how do you feel about this program today versus 1 year ago when this was just getting started?
Absolutely. Great question. We talked about this kind of on the walk in here, what our starting lineup was last year comparative to what our starting lineup will be kind of like in our first scrimmage this year. And we actually had our first 11v11 scrimmage yesterday. And the competitive level comparative to last year of any 11v11 scrimmages to this year's very first one was leaps and bounds above where it was last year. So extremely excited about that. And then just kind of that always looking to add more talent and be better and better and better definitely is extremely exciting going into this year.
You mentioned the back line improving with those transfers. Was that like a weak link last year, you think? Or why is that back line so much improved now?
I mean, two of them specifically transferred from St. Thomas, starting D1 minutes, so excited about that piece. Cooper actually played almost every minute on the back line for us last year, and we have the flexibility to move him actually out of the back line. It's not necessarily his natural position, to move him maybe to play forward now, which is more of his natural position. So last year we were makeshifting quite a bit to make things work, and now we have a lot of flexibility based on that.
Do you have that flexibility anywhere else with this roster? A year older, some new guys?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things that we look to recruit is position flexibility, and a lot of the guys can flex in a lot of different positions. Take, for instance, probably our center mid that played almost 90 minutes of every match is now likely going to move to the back line and play outside back because we can flex in different ways and do a lot of different things. So very, very excited with that.
Cooper, can I ask you kind of the same question? Just how do you feel today versus where this program was a year ago?
I mean, for me, I just say, yeah, what he said with the competitiveness. From last year to this year, it's been a milestone just how much it's improved so far. Last year, I feel like we were just building up the foundation of the program and everything like that. And now that we kind of solidified what we want going forward, we can start looking at players, especially, yeah, with that competitiveness level that we are looking for, and just to be adaptable into any position, like he was saying. And I think that's what the biggest thing this year from last year is just having more of those players that are quality, really.
For either of you, is the focus of training camp or practices right now just working those positions around and kind of getting used to where maybe you will be moving to, the flexibility? Is it just kind of getting everyone familiar with where they might be playing? Is that?
Yeah, for me, so from a player's point of view on this, he probably has a different one because he's the coach. I feel like this preseason, what we've been working on is, yeah, just getting used to all of us coming together again for another season with new players, new freshmen, transfers, like you said, and just getting comfortable with where we'll probably be this year because, yeah, a lot of the players are adaptable to many positions. You kind of have to figure out how it's going to look this season and where you're going to be and just go from there. So that's the biggest thing this preseason, I think, for a lot of the players. But
Yeah, definitely kind of going into the year, obviously your goalkeepers are your goalkeepers, so you know where they're going to play. But outside of that, I mean, really going in with Nathan Donovan, who was number 3 in the country last year in goal scoring, so we knew he was likely going to be our center forward. And then outside of that, everything else was pretty much up for grabs in terms of flexibility, who's going to be where. Obviously the transfers say a lot, but you need to get them on the field and see what they look like fitting in with everyone else. And I think the first 3 days have definitely taken steps forward and really showed us where we want to be and who's kind of going to start to take those positions. I will also say our depth definitely took a lot of leaps forward going into this year. Last year we were maybe 16, 17 deep, and when you run an 11v11 practice, you need 22 guys. And we weren't necessarily where we needed to be last year. This year, we were at least 22 deep, and we were bringing kids off the bench in that scrimmage that can definitely help us, which is very, very exciting.
Thank you.
Coach, does your approach change this year, having a year under your belt rather than, bringing a whole new team together and having to try to learn everybody's skill set and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last year, a lot of what we did was essentially scout geared towards whatever team we were playing. This year, our focus has now been this is how we want to play. This is what we want to enforce on everyone else and make everyone else adapt to us. And we've had quite a few preseason meetings kind of setting up that foundation, creating our style, and we're really excited to enforce our will on everyone else now.
Obviously, with so many returners, a lot of other programs that have been around for a lot longer have a lot of graduating seniors, that kind of thing. That's not the case for you guys. Does that give you guys a leg up, you think, on your opponents because you have that chemistry coming back? And I mean, it's rare to have so many players coming back.
Yeah, that part's extremely exciting. We talk about it every day in terms of with the guys or with incoming recruits as we take them on visits. The culture piece is massive. What we've built, what we've established, and being able to do that straight from scratch and making it our own has been the piece that I think is just kind of set us apart from everyone else. The guys have created it. They've been the ones that are on the ground floor of it, so they're the ones that can speak to it every day, the same as the coaching staff. So when recruits come in, it's super fun. But also, when we got to see all the new faces with the returning players, I mean, everything's just there. It's exciting, and I think that definitely leads to that core, which is going to take us forward, and the new guys adding in, but also knowing that we aren't losing anyone next year as well. So it's still all built together and still very tight-knit. You want to speak to that a little bit, buddy?
I mean, for me, I'd say the biggest thing would just be that culture he was talking about, but the one word that comes to mind is family. And I feel like the family that we've established here at Eau Claire is that welcoming aspect for all these new players that are coming in. Because like you said, we have this core group that are returners, and we kind of took it upon ourselves to bring that family aspect to them and welcome them with open grace and everything, and just make them feel like they're at home. Because that's the biggest thing, because a lot of kids transfer throughout the year and stuff, and we kind of want to solidify what this family is. And just by doing that, we can guarantee getting more returners each year and just building that chemistry even up more, because we'll be playing 3-4 years now with some players rather than players just coming and going like some other programs. And I think that's the biggest thing, is the family for us, because as much as we do stuff on the field, off field we do a lot of team bonding. We've already had 3 activities that we've done outside of practice and workouts. And just by doing that alone, we already starting to build friendships within that. So I think that's the biggest thing that we have.
Cooper, specifically for you, because the coach kind of spoke to this a little bit, but expectations from year one now going into year two, just from the player's perspective, how has that kind of changed for you guys?
I mean, last year we had a phenomenal season, I'm not going to lie, as a first-year program, but there's always room for improvement and growth in anything you do, and that's another thing that we like to say around here. So going forward, we were 15-4 last year, and I mean, if we can beat that, that would be amazing. And we got a little bit harder schedule, and I think there's going to be a good challenge coming forward for us. But I think we're more than prepared and ready to take it on, like head on right away. So I think we're going to be really excited for this year, and we got a lot of excitement overall just with the team and the season upcoming.
Coach, could you just speak to the schedule and what you're hoping to get out of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm last year, so we're kind of on the second year of a typical 2-year cycle for a schedule. Our schedule this year lines up with a ton of home games in September and a lot of away games in October. Being it's a full non-conference schedule, most teams hit conference in that October stretch, so a lot of the non-conference stuff we were able to get in September and then fill around their schedules in October. With that said, we actually added St. Olaf, #1 team in the region, to try to help our SOS. That'll be a really, really quality match. We added St. John's, who was also ranked in the region, as well as Carleton, who finished second in the region, to really help bolster our schedule. And we had a double round with St. Mary's last year, and they were kind of on the weaker end of things. We only have a single round this year, which will definitely help our overall strength of schedule.
Any other questions?
right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This is water. I'm taking.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Where were you again? We're in this room, right? Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, thank you.
I'm gonna go see if Sean can.
Yep. Well, I moved it, and then she moved it too.
Hello. Everybody looks so serious. It's a bright light, isn't it?
All right, so we'll start with head coach Sean Yango. If you want to kind of give us a little bit of a preseason overview, how things are going in your first couple days.
Yeah, actually, first practice was 7 o'clock this morning, so we're fresh off of that, which was really exciting, just having the team back together. Did something a little bit different this year. We actually started our year with kind of a team bonding trip. We were up north for a couple of days doing some things, having some fun non-soccer related competitive activities like sand volleyball and kayak races and stuff like that, and definitely brings out the personality of the team. For sure, this team is very competitive, and that's fun to see, right? As a coach, you love to see them competing in just about everything they're doing. Outlook, last year, statistically was a really tough year for us. We ranked last in the conference in scoring average and 6th in the conference in goals against average. And those are two things that we have to focus on to get better at. Ironically, we were still in the hunt last year. Even with those two statistics, we lost in overtime in the conference tournament to the eventual tournament champion. In a game where we were down 2-0 and came back and tied it up 2-2, and that was one where we thought we had it. And so those are situations that we're going to focus on this year and finishing games out and turning that type of game into a victory. And we had a number of games on our schedule last year that were just like that game, games that we thought we played very well, but eventually let it slip away. And so excited with these two leaders here next to me. Have basically two fifth-year players. They're our captains. Both of them are returning all-conference players, and amazing leaders. And so I think we're in good shape when it comes to leadership as well. We only return 4 starters, but the 4 starters we return are probably our 4 best players from last year. And so that's exciting, absolutely.
Okay, open up for questions. And ladies, as you speak, just make sure you pull the mic closer to you.
Obviously, with the Oshkosh game, you had them on the ropes, right? I'm sure it left a sour taste in the team's mouths. Do you kind of get motivation from that coming back this year, and do you kind of still feel that sting of that game?
Emma, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can take this one. I think that we feel the sting, but it was such a good game, coming back into it, and we went down 2-0, and we looked at each other. We're like, we have nothing to lose. Let's go. And then we ended up coming back. So it's kind of that mentality we have this year. Kiki and I were the 5th years. We really have nothing to lose. So it's kind of just that mentality of we're going hard from the start and carry on like that.
Sure.
Oops, sorry.
I think that as much as it stings to lose your last game, and you always remember the last game that you lose, I like to put that season behind us. That season's over. It's done with. We have new teammates, new clientele to work with, and I don't know. I'm super excited for this season to start. We've got some good freshmen coming in, and it's looking pretty good.
Coach, what might be the key? You talked about the statistics, right? What might be the key to generate some more offense in terms of goals and then also allow a few less?
Yeah. And actually, we had just spoken about this with the team. Last year there was a moment where the goals started coming, and it was a focus for us in training. We call it Zone 14. And statistically speaking, in soccer, most goals are going to come from Zone 14, and that's that zone just on top of the 18 in the middle of the field. if you get the ball into that zone, good things are going to happen. Sometimes it generates a shot from that area. Sometimes it collapses the defense and opens up a space on the flank for another player. Sometimes it creates a foul in that part of the field, which is a very dangerous free kick area as well. So that's definitely an emphasis in training that we've focused on last year, and then we started to see the difference. And obviously, going into this year is definitely going to be a focus as well. The other thing is we talk about go time. You know, in that part of the field, when it's go time, it's ready to go. You got to go, and it's got to be a collective effort. It's not just one player going. It's getting numbers into the danger parts of the field are a big part of scoring goals. So taking risks, getting the ball into zone 14, and go. Just got to go. On the flip side, it was really the goals against, the ones, you shake your head in the game, and someone scores a nice goal, hey, you give that credit to the other team. But the goals that we were really concerned about are the soft goals, the ones where we made a bad decision, a turnover in a bad part of the field. We just can't give those goals away. And we feel like you take away the soft goals from last year, man, our goals against average shrinks up in a hurry. So those are things. And we do play a style of soccer that's such that, we like to build out of the back, which is dangerous. We're going to have our defenders handling the ball under pressure, in the defensive third of the field. That's our style. That's what we like to do. So we have to, we just have to get better in decision making and got to get rid of the soft goals.
And then for either player, we talked about only 4 starters coming back. Just what's going to be the key during training to get some of these new faces, up to speed to play a high level of soccer here for you?
Who wants to tackle that?
So we do have a lot of new incoming players, but we also have a lot of people from what we call our second 11, like stepping into those roles and really taking ownership of it. And so we spent a lot of time over spring and this summer working together and just getting everyone's confidence up, getting to gel as a team. And then we went on our retreat, so now we know people off the field, and that's going to help us know them on the field. So just getting the confidence up, getting touches on the ball, and I think we're already in a good spot. And so I think we can only get better from here.
Want to add, Becky?
I think it's kind of more exciting this year to only have 4 returners. In the past, we've had quite a few returning starters, and it's always been the same people, and now we got a new rotation of people that we get to work with, and I'm excited for the new people to come in and start for us.
What strikes you about their personality, some of these new girls, new faces?
They're actually we're getting to know our freshmen a lot quicker than usual, and I think especially with our retreat this weekend that obviously helped. And our freshmen stay at the upperclassmen's houses, so we get to know them more personally, and they stay at our house, and we make dinner together and all these things. And I think we've started to bond with our freshmen way sooner than we ever have in any preseason ever before.
I just want to just interject a little bit because I feel like we have a group of returning players that did play a fair amount of minutes last couple of years, and definitely like Emma said, they're ready and eager to play that bigger role, and it's not like they're coming in fresh without any college minutes. They've played a significant amount, and I think they're excited and ready to play a bigger role in this team.
When you have a loss like the one that ended your season last year, where you just didn't manage to kind of close it out there at the end, does that kind of change your approach of how you go about trying to finish off those games, trying to shut the door on the opponent?
It's kind kind of a mindset, to be honest with you. I don't think there's like anything in training. I think it's that mindset that, you know, you gotta go for the kill, right? You know, I mean, I remember specifically in that game, you know, because when the game is tied in overtime, then the captains meet the officials in the middle of the field and they flip a coin and figure out who's on which side of the field and who's going to get the kickoff. And I remember somebody said, the Oshkosh captains are crying. They had tears in their eyes, you know? And I think they thought that they had it, you know? And emotionally, I think we had it, you know? But you can never give a team that, yeah, we got you. You know, you got to get out there and you got to prove it. And when you got a team on the line, it's a mindset where you just got to put them away. And it's intentional, you know, it's how you play. And so, yeah, it's definitely something we've spoken about. We do spend a fair amount of time on the mental skills, and I think this is one of those mental skills that, you know, is definitely going to be a major focus going into this season.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I answered everything. We're going to give you some.
We should golf. Cole here. Darren could not be here today, but he offered up our top golfers. All right. So, actually, we want to talk a little bit about last season to kind of get started and
Yeah.
have an exciting finish.
Yeah, last year was awesome. We had a really young group of guys, so I felt like I was kind of taking a leadership role there. I was fortunate enough to have a pretty good year myself. Finished with my second All-American year, finished 6th at Nationals. That was just a wild ride, going through all that with just me and Coach Skinner. It was about 8 days on the road, just the two of us, so we got to know each other pretty well. Yeah, the team was awesome. Like I said, really young team. I mean, those guys, they came in day one ready to compete, which was awesome. It really helped me out because I kind of thrive on that competition within the team. But other than that, yeah, it's a great year.
What's your optimism for what this year's group can do?
Oh, this year, so we brought in 4 new guys, 2 transfers, 2 freshmen, and then from there we just developed about 10 other guys. So we lost 2 seniors who I came in with, so that was that's kind of a blow. But this next year we got Ben Pausha. He's coming in. He didn't play last year, but he was highly recruited out of high school. And then Alex Sosnowski. He's from Middleton, which is one of my old roommates is from there, so I've met him a few times. Griffin, who's he's got a lot of raw talent. He can really grow. His ceiling's really high. And then one more, forgetting his name now. He's gonna hate me. But yeah, we're gonna be good. This year could be something special, I think.
You ever had a bond with a coach like you have with Coach Skinner before, and does that time spent together benefit you and how you operate on the course?
I can't say I have, and it's actually a pretty good story, him and mine. So his first year was my senior year of high school, so he wasn't even the coach that recruited me to come here. That was Mike Greer. But we kind of learned Division III golf together, I like to think. So we kind of came in at the same time. He had a group of guys that he had never met his first year, his like half season that he came in with. And then my first year, I felt like we got a fresh start together. And from there, our relationship just started to grow. So I can't say I've ever had a relationship with a coach like that.
How much did the end of last season really help your relationship?
Oh, it was awesome. Like I said, 8 days flying, traveling, and our relationship built, and he understands the way I play the game probably more than anyone, other than maybe my dad. But yeah, we just bonded to that next level of, we feel super comfortable like leading a team together now. I feel like, obviously his say is over mine, but I truly think that him and I are a coach, but a friendship really. I can text him at any time and he'll respond. It's pretty awesome.
We started our media day today talking to cross country, and they talked about focusing on themselves every day, right? 'Cause
Mhm.
really, you want to peak at the end of the season. I feel like golf's kind of the same thing.
Right.
What do you guys focus on? Every Monday, Wednesday, early in the season. Each day. What are you trying to really focus on so you can be at your best at the end of the season?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I feel like a lot of people don't understand the mental side of the game of golf. You can have some of the best talent in the world, but if you can't keep it together, in your own head, you're just gonna kind of crumble under the pressure. So a lot of it for us is, how can we get ourselves into, competitive situations at practice with each other. That's why we depend on our teammates so much. And then from there, we get into these, pressure points in a tournament, and we've been there before. So like early week, before a tournament, like all we're doing is competing within the team, whether it's on the golf course or just on the putting green. We're gonna, who wants to compete? It's awesome. So a lot of competitions, a lot of, just discussing I've been through a lot of those moments, and there's a lot of guys on the team who are young who they have, but just not at the level of, really highly competitive college golf. So I feel like this year especially, I'll be, a kind of a voice to them and say, like, this is how it's going to be. You kind of just get ready for it. And everybody works through it differently, on the golf course especially. So, find a way that you can get through that. And then, once we're in that position, we can.
How do you know if you're being competitive enough in practice? Do you just kind of feel it out?
You feel it out, yeah. It's kind of weird to describe, but you get into that, like, mental state of, like, this matters to me. And nobody can really tell you, like, what matters until you have that experience for yourself. So you just feel it out, If it means something to you, you'll get nervous. That's how I always say, if you're nervous on the first tee, that means you care. So, just something that matters to you, and we care about competing, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey Cole, could you, I'm going to step in here, just so there's some context. Explain the difference between men's golf for fall compared to spring, as well as we have female. The women's championship season is in the spring.
Right.
Basically, your championship season is in the fall because you need those rankings.
Correct.
To get to, because we're an independent.
Right, so we are independent, so we don't compete for a conference title at the end of the fall season. So I like to think of it, and like you said, it's a split season. I like to think of it as one big season. Our season never stops because for most schools we play against, they compete and then they try to peak at the end of the fall. We want to, get through the fall with a good ranking because those rankings mean so much to us, and then continue to grow over the winter. And that's why we have a really good facility down the hall here that we love to be in. We got a couch in there, we got tables, desks. We just hang out in there because that's where we get better in the winter. And we're competing against independent schools in Atlanta where, they can't be outside for a week. We got, months inside. So we got to figure out a way to grow over the winter. And, it's a split season, but really I think of it as one big season because we want to be the best that we can be at the end of the spring season versus fall and spring.
So what do you obviously qualified for nationals as an individual, and we've had individuals in the past, but what do you think is gonna be different this year? You talked about your team is, gonna be strong. How do you get there as a team, get that team at large bid?
Really good question. I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit. So from like the day that you walk in the door as a blue gold golfer, men's golfer, you're kind of told it's really hard to make it to nationals because we are an individual. So, the year that I got in here, Ryan Isaacson had did it in the past year, who I'm good buddies with now, and he kind of gave me that belief of like, hey, there's only 6 that go, but it's achievable. And now I think me going this past year with a lot of returning guys, it kind of shows them like it's reachable. Just work for it and you can get there. But yeah, it's kind of a trip, and you're going through 4 years, and everyone's saying like, first team out this year. We were the first team out of nationals, and it hurts. It's like, how many years can we be the first team out of nationals as an independent? And then I do it as an individual, and the whole team is, everybody's got my back, everyone's happy, cheer me on, and it's like, God, I wish they were here. That whole week, love Skinner to death, but 8 days with him without anybody my age, it's a long 8 days. Thankfully, my parents could make it down.
Any other questions for Cole?
Yeah, I guess, so with all of that success that you individually had at the end of the last season, how does that kind of set the stage for, I guess, your individual approach this season and how you're trying to bring the rest of the team along with you?
Right. In my head, that's the standard now. That's what I'm working for. I finished 6 spots too low. So, how are we gonna move up 5 spots into 1? And, it's only gonna make it sweeter if my team can come. So I hope that they can realize that, after I did it, it is possible. It's not as easy as winning your conference and making it, with the AQ, but it's out there. Now we can just work and go get it. Awesome.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cole.
And keep your name thing.
Make room on the fridge.
Well, I thought we were very competitive last year. We led the conference meet after the first day. I think we're continuing to grow as a team. This was my first opportunity to recruit. And I think we're making great inroads in the state. Our name, I think, is becoming known at high school and summer golf tournaments. So I think that the most important thing is it got me a chance to get out and recruit. And that's going to make a huge difference. I think this year we're going to, again, be very competitive. We're small. We have a small team. But I just think there are very good things in store for us.
How do you feel about your recruiting class?
Well, it's very small. We have one freshman coming in from Superior, Keely Morehouse, and we have a transfer in from Concordia St. Paul, Jilly Newman. I think they're both going to help us quite a bit. So I feel good about it, and we're really excited to get started.
Roster overall, what strikes you about this group you've assembled here, and why are you confident you can take a step forward this season?
Well, I think we're just in golf. The more you play, the better you get, and I think our players are working hard. I think they're dedicated. I think they've competed against good competition in the summer, so I think that we'll be able to take a step forward. I think I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to do the recruiting aspect, which I wasn't. It was much harder last year because I got the job later. So I think that'll make a big difference. But I just think we have some good players, and I think we'll have a nice team.
To go off of that, obviously you mentioned you took the head coaching job in the winter, I believe.
Yeah, it was in January, I think.
So how beneficial is it to have a fall with this group now as a head coach?
Oh, it's huge. It's just getting comfortable with the job is huge. And as I said, going out around the state and spending so much time at golf tournaments throughout the state and just getting our name out there and letting them see the product that we have to offer in the beautiful place that we're at and getting those kids in here, I think it's huge. I think that as I stepped in as a head coach in the spring, and it was a real learning experience. I think now the fact that we were going to courses the night before playing a practice round, getting prepared, I think there's just a different attitude, and I think a really good positive approach to what we're trying to do.
And to go off of that for the players, I mean, how beneficial is it for you two and the rest of the team to have him, coming into a full season now instead of having to kind of shuffle coaches mid-year?
I mean, Lexi Osley's has had. Yeah. Well, Lexi's obviously always had him as there, but this is my first experience having him always around. He kind of volunteered his time my fall season, which was nice, but when he finally got to be our coach, it helped us feel valued more of having our own coach, and we always had someone that really put all of his time for us, which was super nice, and he's really helped us grow as a team a lot and really feel like we're really there to golf and really there to be competitive.
Yeah, so when I first came in, because Coach Skinner was obligated to split his time, we were essentially just sent with somebody who could drive the van. So it was a little tough because we had nowhere to direct our questions. We were kind of in charge of getting our own cards ready, getting everybody out to the right holes. So even from that perspective, just to have somebody there who can take on those administrative tasks for you, somebody who is knowledgeable about golf, who enjoys golf, and who's kind of on our side always is lovely.
Yeah, honestly, we're here to compete. I mean, we're here to do big things. These girls just need an opportunity, and the tradition of this university and the tradition of the women's and men's golf program is huge in this state. We're gonna get it where it needs to go, and I think we're gonna be extremely competitive.
Has your relationship improved with this experience being together?
Oh man.
How has it changed?
I don't know that it's changed. because I don't know that there was a time where golf wasn't a very large part of the relationship. I enjoy it simply because there was a year there where I went away before the pandemic hit, and I missed being able to share golf with my dad. So for me, it's just an extension of what I've always done, what I do every day, all day in the summer. Yeah, so nothing's really changed for me.
Yeah, and the only thing that's changed for me is the responsibility, because, you know, it's a team responsibility now. It's not just, I mean, I'm not truly her golf coach, but I've been a golf supporter. She has a swing coach and stuff like that. That's a different role. But obviously, I've been with her throughout the whole process, and it's been a huge important thing in my life. But I want to share this with the others. You know, I enjoy this. This is, I mean, what could be better than to be on a golf course in the fall in Wisconsin? I mean, literally, it doesn't get any better than that. And we get to play beautiful venues. We get to practice at a beautiful venue. One of the biggest pluses to this program is where we practice and play. And it's one of the best courses in the entire Midwest. So it's a huge advantage, and we need to make sure that we take that advantage, you know, take advantage of that opportunity. So other than just getting more time with her, which is obviously great for me, but it's also more time for them. And I want to try to, her and I, we have a love for this game, this sport. It's not like other sports. It's just a little bit different. And if I can convey that to them and get them to really enjoy this, and hopefully they're doing this when they're 50 years old too, then we're doing the right thing. Good? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You guys can take your water and your Figured you'd like to talk to Dan as well. Give some updates. You guys good? All right, Dan, if you would like to take it away, maybe give an overall update.
As I just tweeted out, today's basically with Media Day is the start of the 22-23 campaign for Blue Gold Athletics. Last year was a very successful year, 3 national championships. I think 15 out of our 25 teams competed for a championship or was in the postseason. You know, we scored as many points as we did in 19 before the pandemic, and we took 10th in the Directors' Cup. This year we took 16th. Still one of the top-rated, if not, there was only 2 public schools in the top 16 anyways, and we were one of them. So as exciting as it was, there was room for improvement. I mean, you look at previous year, men's hockey wins the conference championship, but we don't have an AQ. That changes this year. So we have an AQ now. We have enough teams that with the NCAA legislation that passed in January of reducing the amount of sponsored sports sponsorship from 7 down to 6. Now we have 6 members, so we're playing for something, and so that's exciting for them. Wrestling had an unbelievable year. I could go down the whole list. You got track and field, of course. Chip Schneider's the best track coach in the country. Him and his partner Dan Schwamberger just do
one amazing job. I reflect on their tenure here, and I've been here, 9 years, and I tell my colleagues that are at Division I, where I came from, are you not nuts not to go hire these? I mean, I don't want to lose them, but they're that type of talent that can do something at a larger stage. So, moving on to this year, I think we have a lot of things in place. I've not said this before in my tenure. I expect a lot from football this year. I have high expectations. It's time. It's time for the program to take another step. I told the team that last week with the coaching staff. It's time for the program to take. I mean, it come out 3-0 last year and then went down that losing streak. It was very frustrating. And so, volleyball is preseason number 1. You're going to have your men's golf team in the high rankings. I got a feeling men's soccer is going to shock the world a little bit. I mean, to be 15-4 in their first year as a program last year was, well, that's pretty amazing. And we, I wouldn't say we got screwed, but I would say that we weren't treated fairly as it relates, because we were a new program in town, new program in the Midwest, competing as an independent, which we talked about earlier about men's golf being an independent, how hard it is. And you look at all the other things that are going on. Women's golf was just up here, and I think we're going to have a better year than we had last year. And it's hard to imagine 3 national championships. How can it get any better? But I think we can. I think we still have room for much more, and the coaches know this, and I've said it. I mean, I want to be number 1. And if you're going to be on the staff, you're going to be a student athlete, you're going to be a blue gold, the institution stands for excellence, and excellence is being number 1. So we have a chance to do some really great things. You couple that with the amount of excitement around our facilities that are coming online. If I'm a Division III athlete, even if I'm a Division II athlete, I'm looking at Eau Claire. You're going to, in the next 2 years, you'll have state-of-the-art facilities, unlike we've ever had before. We have the best coaching staff in the country, top to bottom. It still has its challenges to funding levels, but we're working through that with fundraising and different revenue streams. But I really believe that this could be a greater year than we had in 19, and of course this past year. But it'll be hard to top 3 national championships. But I think because of some of the changes and where the programs are developing, even if you're in independent status, I think we're going to be very strong. And I'm looking forward to another successful year.
Football.
I knew that was going to be a lightning rod.
Yep.
After I said what I said. I always put my foot in my mouth.
What prompted you to say this year, you want higher expectations? I guess what can you tell us more that you're looking for out of that program?
I have been impressed with what Coach Bishoner has done from a culture standpoint, from an organizational standpoint. I think we have a very strong assistant coach staff, stronger than we've had maybe in the past. And that's no knock against the previous staffs. But it just, I got here, we made a change after my first year here. Then I hire Dan Larson, and he gets swooped up by Division I. That's part of the business. So it ruined that, 2 sets of a momentum on either side, and then we bring in a third head coach in the 9 years. So, but I believe Wesley's committed to staying here as coach. He's now technically in what I would say year 3. And as I've told every coach, even including the 3 new programs, I really like to see great progress in a program at the end of year 3 underneath your leadership. So does that put pressure on Wesley? Maybe. I'm a very loyal boss, so I have his back no matter what. But I think he has some really good players. I think our scheme is going to fit our positions well. I like the fact that we have 6 home games. In the momentum of building Simpson Field project that supports a football program in a state-of-the-art, you know, as I've said to you all a million times, there's no scholarship involved here. So a young student athlete out of high school, if they're not going to get scholarship money, Division II or Division I, they're going to pick the nicest Division III school they can go to, and that comes down to facilities. And if you don't have a great facility, they're going to be walking right past you. And they've done that, drove right by us on 94 a bunch of times, and go somewhere else. So the facilities are starting to match the excellence of the university from an academic standpoint, and I think that's going to bode well, and that creates even more excitement around our football program to play on campus. Their locker room is right in this building. You know, we don't have to ship them out, and Carson Park has been a wonderful place and is pride and joy of the city. If I put you on a bus and took you around the state to the other state schools, there's a difference in facilities. And so that's what the focus is. And I've got great support from the chancellor, Kim Way, the president of the foundation, alumni. All these pieces are coming together. And facilities are a huge piece that's really going to, I think, put us over the top. We won't be talking about 16. We'll be talking about staying in the top 5 because we'll be able to get the best of the best because of facilities. So it does add a little pressure. And but, you know, I'm honest and direct with the team on what those expectations. There's also other expectations, such as we're going to graduate. You don't come here, you're not sitting in this room if you don't plan on graduating, because nobody cares. You know, I said it in the meeting. I don't know, Nick, maybe you were there. I don't know. I don't forget who was there. But, you know, I played football in the mid-'80s. Nobody cares how many touchdowns I scored in 1987. Nobody even knows. Man, I know. You know, my mother might know still. I don't know. But what the people do know is that I graduated from college. I have degrees, multiple degrees. And I said, that's what you want to be known for. That athletics is an auxiliary. That's why they call it student athlete. So, you know, as much as winning is important, having a 90% graduation rate like we do, it can go higher. You know, 89%, I think we were this past year. I think we can go higher. And that'll be even a greater story. Winning an all-sports trophy and getting to that 95% to 99 percentile graduation rate. Now we're talking definitely Stanford and Northwestern and being in those type of ranks of that upper 1% of the NCAA, both academically and athletically.
I guess specifically in regards to the football, you said you have higher expectations. Is there a standard of here's what's going to be, I guess, acceptable under those expectations?
I mean, I want to make the playoffs. I mean, I want to compete for a championship. We do that in every sport. I think what was a wonderful story this year in WIAC football was River Falls. And my hat's off to the River Falls program that they've been down with us at the same level. And they came out and had a wonderful season and made a bowl game. They didn't make the NCAA playoffs, but they made that one bowl game that allowed them an extra week to get better as a team. I believe that, and I know there's statistics that show it. When I was at Division II, when I was at Winona State, we went to the Mineral Water Bowl. Every time we went to the Mineral Water Bowl, the following year we made the NCAA tournament. That extra 2 weeks of practice, that extra experience goes a long way when you report to spring ball or fall camp. So, yeah, I like us to reach for that type of momentum going into a new facility, going into next year. You know, we're going to have a young quarterback again and some young people playing in some key positions, tailback and defensive back, even defensive end. Yeah, I mean, the expectations are high. I'm going to temper them as we go and see what injuries happen and things like that. But no, I'm excited. I think Coach Bashorner's done a great job and his staff, and I believe that the program is ready to take another step. And I'm hopeful that it goes in the direction as what River Falls has just recently done.
Can you talk more about the other programs outside of football that might shock us and surprise us? You mentioned soccer, men's soccer.
Yeah.
Shocked the world. They did last year.
I think men's soccer is. I mean, that would be the one if I looked at the whole array of sports. I think women's lacrosse in the future is going to be very strong. You know, women's basketball had a wonderful year. You know, we're one injury away from probably going to a national championship, to be honest with you. If our star player didn't get hurt in that last game, you know, and we're hosting we would have been hosting the week after instead of Whitewater. So I think men's hockey is going to come on. I mean, women's hockey's been strong. I mean, God, it's hard to answer that question because there's so many of them. There's so many teams, and they're all finding success in their own way. And you know, like I said, I take this coaching staff twice on Sunday. The work ethic that they put in and what they care about as about their student athletes and the way they take them in. And this has been the most 2 difficult years to be a coach. We're working on mental wellness for our coaching staff right now. We've already had 1 session with the Mayo Clinic, and we're working right now to, on September 8th, another session with our entire staff, because we're not experts on how to handle things that the kids are going through. So we need help, and we're trying to develop a situation where we're going to be supportive of everything, coaches, staff, athletes, in every way, because mental health has become a piece of the puzzle to compete. And that maybe in my day, you know, old school, it was like just pull your own bootstraps up, right? It's not the place anymore. And you know what? At the end of the year, this past year, at the year-end banquet, I told all the student athletes, I'm no different. I'm no different. These last couple of years have been a real struggle for me, an old man like me. And I went and got I see somebody just to go talk to. And I encourage all of our student athletes, our coaches, to find those outlets. And I think that's a big piece to helping them get through, to be as good a coach as they could possibly be and as great a person as they can possibly be. But to put it, men's soccer would probably be for the fall. I'm anxious to see how that goes. A couple with those transfers and the way Casey's been handling the situation. I'm looking forward to men's soccer. To answer your original question, I know I'm off there, but there's so many things I can point to. But, you know, I'm also a football guy. It gets back to another question. I mean, you know, I don't know anything. I'm the athletic director. I'm in the business of sports. I'm good with numbers, fundraise, strategize. I got to make the right hires. Do I know anything about coaching tennis? Zero. Okay, do I know anything about I know a little bit about golf, but I don't know how to teach it. I couldn't be there. The problem is I got a football program. I kind of know something about football. I kind of like to know a lot about football. So it becomes a level of impatience for me right now. At the same time, I'm also recognize progress, physical progress, size, speed, agility, scheme. People that they're being fair, they strategize who we're recruiting based on what positions to fill based on the scheme. Haven't gotten to that point before until now. So that's why maybe I point out football a little bit more, because, you know, people question me. Hey, you're a football guy. How can't you get the football team to win? It's a basic AD question, you know, if you're an old football AD. So, yeah. And I have not said those things strongly before until now, and I told the team last week. So they know where I stand and where I think we are, and, you know, I'll still be still going to cheer them on and support them every way I can and remove every barrier or obstacle I can to prevent them from having success.
Going back to the talk about mental health, obviously COVID played a huge part in that. Even last year, our media day was virtual, and this year we're in person, right? So are there still any COVID guidelines for a lot of the athletes? Or are we kind of
We don't. There's just testing when you're symptomatic. But we have no masking rules, no getting tested weekly or 3 days a week or 24 hours or 36 hours before a competition. All that has gone away, as is probably the rest of society right now. Is it still a concern? Yeah, we still have had some COVID situations. We've had coaches get COVID over the summer and in the spring. So it's still around. It's just not predominant, and it hasn't been a focus. And I don't know if that's a bad thing not to focus on it anymore, but I'd like to move on from it. And everybody uses the same, get back to normalcy. I don't know what the new normal is anymore, to be honest with you, but we're trying to get back to normal. He took my question, okay.
I think the only other thing I was going to ask, any facility updates, specifically maybe in the field?
Well, you can hear the vacuum in the background if you're listening very intently, and we are renovating locker rooms right now with the addition of the 3 sports. They need places to change, and and house and have their space. So we're a lot of renovation going on in this building that we're at. The bleachers are for phase 2 of Simpson Field are being added by October. They were out there, Market and Johnson, the company who is doing the work, just laid the cement pad. We're looking heavily at phase 3 now to move forward, which would really turn this place into a construction zone around the McPhee building. The Sonotag building is down a ways down the road. They got the footings in, so as I told the volleyball team this morning when I gave them their updates and greeted them as they came back to practice, the chancellor's goal is to have the place open in spring of '24, the arena part. I got a feeling that'll be the first thing open, and they'll go focus then on it. But I said it to volleyball, and I clearly said, the new arena is going to be awesome for basketball. The multi-purpose outdoor stadium is going to be awesome for many sports. But that indoor field house that we're going to have adjacent to the arena, that's going to change all of our sports because of dry land training. That we'll have a large enough space to get as much work, I don't know if it's baseball, softball, swimming, dive, volleyball, to be able to work out in the wintertime in a climate-controlled situation, track and field to get ready, because not everything they can get done on the indoor track in Olson. So, and then you throw in football and soccer. We can actually play a soccer game and a lacrosse game in this field house when it's done. So I think that's a huge game changer from a facility standpoint. No one else I know, the Badgers do, but I think we have a taller ceiling. They're only like 58 feet, but who's counting feet, I am, because we keep score. No, it's like 70-foot ceiling. So we'll be able to get a kicking game in there and play softball games in there instead of going to Rochester to play softball. And it's really, really a game changer. And the Sonotag family, John and Carolyn, what they did for us is a total game changer. And then you add in the outdoor stadium, and then you add new softball, you got a new wrestling room, and the enhancements to McPhee for volleyball, gymnastics, and wrestling. And now we're talking baseball. Where are we going to go with baseball? And where's Carson Park going from a facility standpoint? Where's the city's going to go with that? So we've got to start to have those conversations, because we did move out of there for softball, and we have a beautiful home field now. We're looking at all those options as well. No, I can't, nothing really to divulge or nothing to really comment on other than just weighing all of our options. We played more games this year at Bollinger Field than we did Carson for baseball because of the winter, the spring, the thaw, everything. If we had artificial turf in Carson Park, we would have been able to play there the whole season. So that's the way I'll answer it. And we're looking at, the fact is that we have a chance, we're usually 2 weeks ahead to 3 weeks ahead of Carson Park baseball grass field at our grass field, because it's out in the open and the sun gets to it and the wind gets to it. Behind home plate, Carson Park, that stays frozen. There's always shade there, and there's moisture and drifting from snow, and so it becomes a little challenging to get there for early games. So we're looking at all of our options. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here.
So football's next, aren't they?
Yes.
So I'll stay here in case you're gonna ask the same question. I know his answer will be.
How's everybody doing? Good. Good. Really good. Is that close enough? We're good?
Jill has been asking if a player answers, just slide the microphone.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, moving on to football. We got Coach Bashawner, we've got Thomas and Isaac with us. So we're gonna start out here, giving Coach B the floor, and if you wanna kind of talk about how camp has started so far this year and kind of your outlook for the season.
Yeah, thinking back to spring ball, I thought our guys were really locked in. Have a lot of returners. Guys have played significant snaps on offense and defense. Obviously, we've added a bunch of new guys here during fall camp. It's been fun. We had a scrimmage yesterday. I like where our team's headed. We got to continue to get better, and two guys right here that'll help us get there.
Coach, do you feel any more pressure to take the next step this season? I mean, you've made strides.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this could be a year that you actually, make some bigger strides in terms of wins and losses?
Yeah, I really like our team. So obviously, I'm excited to see what they can do on Saturdays. Right, September 3rd's coming, and the next one's coming. So as far as pressure, no, pressure's a privilege. We like that. That's why you do this job. You want to have pressure, and I think our guys, and I know our guys, enjoy it, and they've been practicing really hard and proving to us that we can trust them to go out and win.
What were your takeaways from the scrimmage, and what kind of are some of the gains you've made in camp so far?
Yeah. So in the scrimmage, watching guys move up has probably been one of the funnest things to see. Some guys, new guys that have joined the team, or guys in the spring and during spring ball. Just the progression of each young man has been great, and seeing them continuing to add value to our program, I think, is so critical. Whether a guy was just a special teams player last year, now he's in the rotation on offense or defense. Seeing guys take those steps, and there's a number of guys who've done that. And what's really cool is seeing those guys, once they've taken that step, take another step. And I think that's where this program's going.
Either player, just what are some of the strides you've noticed in camp? How do you feel like you're coming along as a football team here?
Thomas, you got it.
I think the biggest thing is we have a lot of guys competing. Guys are loving competition right now. They know that no spot is guaranteed, so we're making sure that everyone's working their butt off to make sure that they get their spot on their field. And then I think we're just a lot more locked in. Everybody knows what the goal is this year, and we want to achieve. We want to do great things. So.
It's just been, like at the scrimmage yesterday, seeing a lot of the young guys step up and making plays, just playing really smooth, natural. I mean, it was really eye-opening to see, and it makes all of us that have been in the program a lot more determined to keep fighting for our spots that we have right now. Like, nothing's guaranteed, whether you've been here a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like, we're always fighting for that position. We're always trying to make each other better every day.
Coach, you talk about the growth and seeing the guys grow. A lot
Yeah.
of these guys are guys that you've brought in since your time here.
Sure.
So is it more special for you to kind of see guys that your staff has recruited grow?
Not particularly, no. I mean, we're all blue golds, right? Like, that's, when I joined here, there was a number of guys that I hadn't recruited, but they didn't recruit me either. So, we're all blue golds. We're all wearing this right here. So we're all in it together. And I think it's been fun. These guys kind of reiterated that we're all competing on a daily basis, and that's what's been fun to see out of our guys. We're putting pressure on them, but I think in the right way. And I think their teammates and the guys, leaders of the team, have done a great job of explaining what the goal is and where we're going.
New faces on the coaching staff this year for you, right?
Yeah.
Talk about them and what they bring.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a number of guys that been new. Varmasoni, he was a guy that I actually recruited in high school. He doesn't remember that, but no, he's done some great things. He played in the NFL for a little bit and then played some professional football. He played at a high level in college. So he has expectations out of himself, and we have expectations out of him. So he's done a great job. Michael Beto, another guy, he played at, actually played for my brother at Mankato. They went to a national championship, and then he won one as a player at North Dakota State. Caleb Richardson does an outstanding job, a guy that was at Bethel. They've been a really good program. So getting guys in here that have been places that have won has been fun to see. And I think just watching their expectations and putting that on our players has been really, really good.
Yeah, I got another one.
Awesome.
So I think I talked to you last year, and it was, post that COVID year where it was a lot of time off.
Sure.
You kind of talked about you didn't know who other teams had coming back in 2021. Do you feel like, and for the players too, feel like you have a better scouting report of the opponents this year because of that?
That's a great question. Obviously, COVID put wrenches in a lot of people's plans, and whether you're a senior that year or a freshman, it's changed. So we do have probably a little bit better understanding who we're going to be playing, on a day in and day out basis as far as personnel. But there will be some surprises. And same thing for our team. That you're looking on the roster, we had a senior, now he's coming back for another senior year. It's an interesting deal. So we'll get film on everybody, and we'll be able to tell who's out there and who's not. And but that's part of it. I think that's, really in Division III football, that's probably one of the biggest things I've noticed. You just, there's new guys and new faces every single year.
Remind us, are any schemes different on offense and defense?
For us, or just anybody else? No, I mean, we're trying to, on offense, it's players based. Whatever our players do the best. We're going through install, we practiced 11, so we have roughly 10 installs, and we install everything. We want to be pretty balanced, run to pass, and then we identify who our best players are, and that's what it comes down to. So things might look different to maybe the fans or the media's eyes, but it's pretty status quo as far as what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing whatever we can to get the best players on the field at all times. Same thing for defense, right? We run what we run, but we're also going to put the best guys out there, and we're going to find out what they do best. So that evolves based on our players. Same thing with special teams, right? We've moved a couple guys around and been fortunate. That's been some exciting stuff, seeing some of those guys, whether it's run down on kickoff or we had a great one yesterday, so or on punt and things like that. So you got your base schemes, and then you evolve based on your players.
I'd say for the players, this year you're going to have 6 home games. So can you talk a little bit about, having kind of a home-heavy schedule and what that means to be able to play in front of home crowds?
We'll start with Isaac.
It's incredible. I mean, running out of the tunnel before the game, and you got the Blue Gold Marching Band, you have the fans, you have the student section. It just brings an entirely different type of energy that I've personally never experienced before until last season. And being able to experience that 6 games, and we're big into defending Carson Park, going into that stadium playing games, it's we're there to win and only to win, and we're going to do everything in our power this off season, this fall camp, to make sure that we defend Carson Park at all costs.
Thomas?
Yeah, I think it's an awesome experience. Not very many teams get to play 6 home games, especially at the D3 level in the regular season. But on top of that, it's a D1 atmosphere at a D3 field. I mean, you have I think it's 500 people now marching band, and no one else has that. They're right behind the opposing team, so that's a huge boost to us. But even the fans themselves, they're loud, they're rowdy, they're there to support us, and it's an awesome experience to be able to play there.
All right. Well, we're good. Yes, thank you guys for coming.
Awesome. Thank you,
Awesome.
guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You can take your name tag too if you like.
Take it.
Coach, you can put it in class.
I could take it to class. Take it to class. There you go. That's smart. See? You gotta be smart to get in here. I love it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
We have a little bit of a break until around noon. Can't remember what volleyball's coming
Just so you know where the restrooms are. You come out, go left.
Go left and
Oh,
then
yeah.
left.
Take another left and it's on your right hand side.
Thanks.
Remember the end goal.
Right? It's better than the other day. I was up here randomly for something and they were doing like, must have been like jackhammers to the floor and it felt like everything was shaking. Like I can't imagine having to be there all day. It was, they were, yeah, must have been taking out the floor or something, but.
Football availability, are we thinking Tuesdays again?
I'm gonna double check with coach and make sure his schedule hadn't
Okay.
changed, but I think he had said that they're planning on doing the same. Same like off day or whatever, things like that, so. But I'll, but yeah, that worked
Yeah.
last year.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Just making sure they didn't change anything on them, cause that happens sometimes.
Yeah, no, we're flexible.
Did the schedule change or?
No, we'll work around you.
I try and tell them too, like early morning is bad for NBA people, so
Yeah.
I'll try to do it a little bit later.
If I can avoid, going to work at 9.
Well, yeah, just like, I'm like, you guys work long on the other side, so like,
Yeah.
that doesn't work very well to have you.
Volleyball, but no, I think it's, it looks like a soccer team out there.
Yeah, I can't remember what they had, but they had to go last because of something, training with Zach or something like that. So yeah, I can try and make it work for everybody.
We'll do, yep, we'll do whatever. What else is next? Oh, I wanna ask about when these teams are practicing. Can we stop by,
Yeah.
get some video in the next few days, or?
Yes, cause they're kind of all over the place because school hasn't started yet.
Right.
So sometimes they have practice like soccer, they have practice from 7 to 9.
Right.
So it's like, but then other days, like football was different today, but like other days they're 9 to 11. So yes, I can figure out what their schedule is made for this week.
Sure.
Cross country won't start till, they don't come in till next week.
Yep.
And then theirs is weird too, because they have so many people that want to try out. So it's a 9 trial happen. So his is a little different, but I will
Sure.
write that down too. I'll get you guys the practice schedule for the week.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll try to come over and get some video. I mean, obviously we have video from last year, but it would
Well-
be nice to just get a little bit fresh.
And some of them might be nice because, well, football and both soccers are using the same facility. So either catching, front of one and the end of another, that works for
We
when
still
the kid
have,
is there.
we still have a lot of time, high school is just getting
Yeah.
started too, and so we still have time during the weeks, to come over and get some videos.
Yeah, how was it doing a high school football game at like 7 o'clock in the morning? What was it? Was it Friday?
Oh, Friday.
morning? Was that Friday morning?
That is fine.
That was weird. That was just weird.
And for us though, it's kinda nice, cause we're guaranteed to have everything on.
That's true.
And website updated and all that good stuff. Makes for a little longer day, but for us, it's actually kinda nice, cause then we can get to more teams.
That's true.
There's a one extra game on Friday night. so
That's true.
so.
But I would say too, like sometimes I know when there's a lot of stuff at night and like it can tell, especially with and it's like, well, I'm getting really close to when I have to leave to like, the game's gonna go overtime and things like
So
that.
like on Friday, he tried to cover Eau Claire North, and the game started 30 minutes late due to the weather.
Oh, yeah.
And so he is looking at his
Can I
phone.
hate math?
Right, you have to do the math of, okay, it takes me 12 minutes to drive back to the office, it
Yes.
takes me 10 minutes to edit, I have to put a dress shirt on, I have
Yeah.
to be out, so you're like doing the mental math of, okay, they need to finish the
They
next
need to be
4
done,
minutes,
yeah.
and.
I'm just running into the station and
Right.
sweating and I'm on
Yeah, then you gotta
camera
go on
just
camera
full of
too.
sweat.
Right.
Yeah,
That's fun.
that's Fridays. So.
That's definitely practice. Or I guess even sometimes with your games, like a volleyball match at night or something,
see if they can
still
make it.
around.
Well,
Right, it's, they just don't physically have time, especially in 13, you guys have a 9 o'clock, you have to get back to
Yep.
work. And, it's just,
yeah, that's hard.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
How did North look the other day, football-wise?
They had, I talked about it on our show, they looked like they had more life than I had seen in the past. They're kind of, playing unorthodox at the quarterback position. They're kind of mixing and mashing some of their young guys. But a lot of just growing pains, I think, early with McGinnis. But I mean, it was a hard-fought game. They had the lead in the third quarter, and then a couple turnovers late kind of cost them. But I mean, they were in the game, so that's a good sign.
I think they're gonna be better than last year.
Good.
Yeah,
I hope so. I want the best for them.
Memorial should be a little better too. Yeah, it should be great. It'd be great to get one of those schools to the playoffs or
Yeah.
mid-season. Yeah.
I'd like to see good, I mean, Regis is gonna be strong, and to see local football
Yeah.
do well, it's good for the whole area.
Chippewa Falls looks really good.
Good.
It was only one night.
For football?
Yeah.
They got a lot of young guys, though. They have 49 sophomores, I think they said, and 27 seniors graduated at Chippewa, so,
So that's what you gotta get to, because you need the numbers,
yeah.
and you need the youth numbers. If you have a strong youth program, your high school is gonna thrive because of the sheer numbers. I think Chippewa's made a concerted effort to really prop up the youth football out there.
Yeah.
That translates into enrollment to the high school level, which you want depth and you need numbers, and I don't know how much that has been done at North or even Eau Claire to a little bit.
Takes a lot of dedication from a lot of parents.
Right.
That's probably where it falls short, is you don't have enough people willing to spend their Saturdays or.
Well, and that's what it is. It's literally like my kids do
So we're leveling the whole floor, and so they have to grind out the cement pedestals for the old lockers. And then once it's level, they're gonna epoxy it all, and then come back and install the lockers on the new floor.
I was thinking, we were just in there the other day, and you could still, they had those like big things that were
Yep.
probably.
Yep, that's what
8
they're doing
inches
right
high.
now.
My two are finishing up a workout with Zach Rupp right now, so they're running. Make them feel better on there. My guess is he's got them recovering and rolling out, because they're pretty sore today. This is awesome. Thanks for the waters.
Looking around that circle, man, some young faces, man. Like, oh, cow.
They just keep looking younger and
Her
younger.
right to my right, that's what I'm like, oh my God, you're 12 years old.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you realize then, like, when we put him on our chart, right, and I'm like, yep, you're gonna graduate, or your last year will be 2026, and I think, I will have a child driving at that, so personally, when I look at, like, their careers here and just what, the life that happens in that time is just wild. It's wild.
No doubt.
Do you have a lot of freshmen?
We have 6, yeah. Yeah. They're not playing like freshmen right now, though, so that's pretty exciting. They're pretty good.
Are a few of them keeping a blog from their dorm room or something? I thought I saw some tweets. That's
Oh, my.
softball. Oh, that's softball. Okay.
I was like, oh, send that to me, Nick. I need to follow that one. Oh, goodness. So we're actually, Allie Clayton from the basketball team is out. She's working with us a little bit. She's student teaching this fall, but she's going to be doing some video bios. So she's starting that today. So those will be fun. So yeah, we're on the social media. We took a little social media hiatus just to get going here, and yeah, we'll be back. Yeah, it'll be fun. 5th. So we've had two two-a-days. So we started Saturday. So our 5th practice was this morning. Yep. Do you want me to text them and see how far they are? They probably don't even have their phones. Actually, I don't have my phone. I can't text them. There you go, technology for you. You have Charlie's number, Owen? Yeah, that's all right. They should be, yeah, they should be shortly. They knew about it, obviously. Am I the last one? Not me, volleyball. Last one. All right, awesome. Okay, can you introduce yourselves? I mean, I know Evan. Yeah, okay. Okay. Welcome. Hi, Scott. Awesome. Nick. Awesome. Thanks. Nice to meet you all. The new ones. Good to see everybody who's, yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how quickly the year has gone back. It's wild. Somebody a couple weeks ago was like, so summer must be winding down for you. I was like, it's coming to a screeching halt, actually. Like, yeah, like, here we go.
the end of the year, like AAU national championship. So we spent a lot of time recruiting in June. Went on a little family trip, RV trip with my kids and dogs, and we went to Rocky Mountain. No, where did we go? Last year was Rocky Mountain. This year we went to Smoky Mountains. Yeah. So, and one of the highlights was we swung out kind of down into North Carolina and Shenandoah, and one of my former teammates lives out in like Raleigh, the Raleigh area. So got to see her for the first time in like 12 years, which was really cool. Our kids are the same ages, and so the kids had never met each other. So it's pretty fun to, yeah. She was a wild one back in the day, I'll tell you that much. She still is. Like, what? Is it? Awesome. Hi, Kristen Huber. Hi. Okay. But yeah, then I spent July 5th through the 29th in volleyball camps every day, which was awesome. I got done with camp and I'm like, all right. Yeah, we had over 1,000 campers this summer. So we filled our overnight camps. We had waiting lists 30 people deep on those. We just didn't have enough space or coaches for those two. And then our team camp was full. Yeah, so it was really great. I mean, we impacted a lot of kids this summer, over 1,000, which is our biggest ever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it was, I mean, I think it's just a cool vibe, you know. We had little kids, you know, they're picking up the trophy. We definitely got some mileage out of the trophy. But when the trophy's as big as the campers is pretty cute. So. It is. It is. It has. It's been around. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun too to have we have a lot of alumni who are sending their kids to camp, and ages like 4 to seniors in high school. So that's pretty neat to have them be able to come back, and not just the athletes, but their parents then as alums to come back and kind of celebrate with us. So there they are. Do you want to? No? You're good. I've been talking about you while you're gone. Oh, gosh. That's not good. Start again.
All right. We'll wrap today's up with volleyball. The ladies are fresh off a workout, it sounds like. But we'll open it up with Coach Woody. If you want to kind of, you know, if you want to touch on last year a little bit, please touch on last year a little before we head into this preseason.
Sure. Obviously, we are coming off of our historic season. Team 52, or 2021, was just such a fabulous year for us, both in terms of, I think our culture took a big step forward in terms of the expectations that we have for ourselves, but also, winning the championship was just a ride and an experience that I think, all of us who lived through that, and it was extremely special. But it also, I tell people this all the time, is that's been the goal for as long as we've had Blue Gold Volleyball. We've always had those standards and those expectations. And now to have achieved that and know that it's not only possible, but it's something that, a lot of things have to fall into place, but I think it really has kind of launched us into some, very big expectations for this year. But, last year we had so many, we had a lot of upperclassmen. We had seniors who came back for their 5th year who really made huge contributions. But I would also say that, we were 20 people strong, and we needed every person on the roster last year to accomplish that task. And I think this year will be no different. We need every player on our roster to be able to, to get after it again. Yeah.
Open up for questions, and ladies, if you're gonna answer the question, just pull that mic over to you, because that's where all their sound is coming from.
I'll start. I guess, what is it like, what's just the feeling coming into this year, knowing what you accomplished, and, what's the approach? Does it change, knowing that you reached the pinnacle last year, and you're not trying to, you are trying to fight for that again, I know, but, just having that from last year, what's the feeling like?
Want me to answer?
Sure, go ahead.
I guess for this year, in a way, we're not thinking about like defending it or winning it again. Like, it's a whole new season. Everybody comes in with a 0-0 record. Like, we can't really carry anything from last year. So I think just we keep our championship standard. We hold each other accountable, and just have fun. And if we win, we win. But as long as we're holding each other to our standards, I think we're very satisfied with that. And we're really excited for our newcomers. They add a lot of depth, and just having them as part of the Blue Gold family is just, I think, what we're looking forward to most. Sure?
You want to answer it? Sure.
Sure.
All right. Here you go.
Yeah, I don't think anything really changes a ton. I think we just are really trying to focus on having one practice at a time, one day at a time, just working hard and trying to be our best Team 53, not worrying about what happened last year, because obviously, like we've all said, none of that carries into this year. So just looking forward, taking it one practice at a time, and trying our best.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all realize that we have, new characters in the story this year, and I think that's something that, the analogy of we're writing a new chapter. I mean, with different characters, we're introducing new people, and but again, the standards haven't changed, and I think that's something that is really special right now about the culture that we have. And we went through the last couple of days, we've had some meetings where we've talked about, what is Blue Gold volleyball? What's the legacy that has been left by people before, and what's your responsibility as somebody on our team in Team 53 to be able to impact players going forward. And all of that is bigger than a championship. That goal is always out there, but I think the way that our players live and lead each other and represent themselves in UW-Eau Claire is it is a championship culture. So whether a championship is the result or not, we're not going to win the championship this week. And so our goal is to be better every day, like Sheridan said, and just get after it, make the most of every rep that we have.
So you can't carry the wins over from last year, but I'm assuming the tight game, pressure-packed situations, you can rely on that a little bit for this season, right? Are there certain experiences you can carry with you to help you manage this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, I think every experience matters, and I think that last year, knowing that we were, we had some really tough losses, we had some really big wins, and I think a lot of the matches, and this is just volleyball in general, is you're never out. Like you have to play every point at a time, and I think realizing that we have a team that just never quits, and I think that still is a characteristic of our entire roster. Everybody is just 1 point at a time, and it doesn't matter what the score is. We're going to go 1-0, and we're going to get after the next point. And so I think that's a really big step in terms of, we had a really mature team last year that really kind of taught us how to do that. And I think that that's a big piece that does carry over, is that kind of on-court maturity and composure. Even if they're new faces on the floor, like those players, like to be in that environment every day where composure is just expected. I think that's going to be something that just helps us kind of going forward. And I not that we aren't going to ride a roller coaster. We're still 18 to 22-year-old women, so that still is sometimes happens. But our composure, I think, so far, even in practices and drills, has been really, really good so far. So.
Ladies, can either of you talk about just carrying composure with you and having that?
Wait, can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry.
Can you just add
Okay.
about the composure, just maybe having that, or how important that will be for this season?
Yeah, I think something that we carry a lot from Team 52 is some court experience, as well as people growing into leadership and people just understanding the standards and the culture of Blue Gold volleyball. And I think that helps a lot with composure, because people are just leading and teaching. And so that makes everybody feel more comfortable, and the more comfortable we can feel around each other, the more calm we are in pressure situations. But I think just the effort that we're giving in the gym right now and just the passion for the game, I'm just excited to put it out there and play against other people and see how that goes. But I don't know, pressure's a privilege. Kim always says that, so yeah.
Yeah, I think going off like composure, I think we learned a lot about composure from our seniors from last year. So I think that especially helps me just knowing how they were in those pressure situations. And I know that I can learn from that and use that to help myself and then also help the newcomers and everybody else on the court. So.
Does being ranked preseason #1 add any pressure on this program, or is there less pressure this year knowing what you guys did last year?
Rankings for me, it's, and I don't mean to discredit it because it certainly, I had a conversation actually with one of our alumni just a couple of days ago, and it's like, we see it as an honor, right? It's an honor for us to be ranked that high. It's certainly, I've gotten a few emails from recruits that I don't think I would have gotten if we hadn't had that exposure. So that's really cool. And that potentially could be helpful in the future. As far as how we train day to day or how it impacts our team, it's zero impact. And I think it's cool, again, to have that recognition, and certainly, I think it's earned, but it's also Team 52 earned that ranking. This team hasn't done anything to earn that ranking yet, and I think that's something that is, you can talk about it as in terms of the benefit, but I see it as a benefit. I don't see it as like a target on our back or pressure in terms of, because I think our players, we really understand, like, we're putting it in perspective. Like, this team didn't earn it, right? And so it's a matter of, like, nobody's played a match. Those are just like, well, where were you at the end of last season? And that's how we start this season. That happens a lot in rankings, right? And so, yeah, I don't put a lot of stock into it other than, it's a good talking point for everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Going off of that, I know Kim always says this, but the only ranking that matters is the very last ranking at the end of the year. I think Team 52, I don't even think we were ranked before the season started, and I think we all knew that, it didn't really make sense or it wasn't really true, but we kept going anyways, wanted to prove ourselves, and I think we kind of have the same mentality that, yes, it's an honor, but at the end of the day, we're still going to try to be the best Team 53.
Anything to add?
You guys got it.
Yeah.
Thoughts on your schedule and what you can get out of the opponents you're going to face?
Yeah, once again, my goal always is to schedule the toughest schedule we can put out there. I think our conference is always going to give us a run, and we're hoping to give them a run. I don't think that in any year that I always kind of laugh when the WIAC predictions come out, or because everybody is going to gun for everybody else in our conference. But, a long time ago, even when we were not as talented, having been, just knowing what strength of schedule means in the NCAA, in selections, I want to put ourselves out there, and I want to do it early so that we can grow and learn. So, next weekend we go to Trinity, and we play Trinity and Barry. Well, we start with Barry, and they were in the Elite Eight. Transylvania is ranked right now, and Trinity was in the Elite Eight also. So we come back from that, and we go play, Augsburg and Gustavus, and it just is a lot of the same, the usual suspects that we like to play around the Midwest, but at the same time, just having the ability to put ourselves out there on a national level. It's exciting to be back flying on an airplane. I think that's a good experience for our team, both from that stresses you in ways that you have to be able to, adapt if you have a flight delay or all of those things that just kind of, those are life skills that allow us to, we transfer that to the sport, to the sport of volleyball then. So, but certainly, our opening weekend is a gauntlet for sure, but I also think our second weekend and our third weekend, I think every week's a gauntlet for us because that's just what we want to do is put ourselves out there and play the highest level possible. I think that's helped us be successful in the past, and I think certainly this year it will be no different.
We talked a lot about, sorry, no, you go ahead. Oh, one more. We talked a lot last season about how impactful McPhee was with the environment. I believe we're going to be back to normal operations. Just what will it be like for all three of you to have a normal crowd at McPhee and kind of a normal atmosphere?
Well, first of all, I mean, I look back on last year's on pictures or on, video or even just talking about like our team meetings a year ago. We were spaced out and we had masks on. Like, so think about, I mean, you're building a team and you're trying to get to know each other, but we are masked. And, it just was, there was so much of that I think we didn't even realize like how different it was, coming in this year and just how it's so much more relaxed. I'm so much more relaxed because my biggest fear last year was we were going to get started and then we were going to get shut down because we just didn't know. I mean, we didn't have a season the year before. We didn't know what it was going to be like. And there was really nothing that felt normal about the year except for when, we were on the court and players were on the court. But if you look, all of us on the sideline were still in masks, right? So it's just really neat to feel like, okay, yep, COVID is still around. We're living with it at this point, but at the same time, it's not something that is like our daily, a daily thought right now, which is bizarre thinking about last year and how careful we were with everything we did. So, yeah, I think back to your question about McPhee. We have we have the best fan support. I cannot thank the community enough and just the campus and the environment last year as we went through our season and as our crowds grew and grew and grew. And then to have the regional at home and just to be able to have the energy in the gym, it's a special place. I hear our basketball coaches talk about how special Zorn is, right? And as old as it is, but how special of a place it is. And I think that last year really helped us to say, yeah, McPhee is that for us, right? It's home. We have a lot of home games midweek this year, not a lot on the weekends, but a lot of home games midweek against some solid teams. And so, we hope to make it as much of a home court advantage as we can. You guys wanna?
I can go. Kim took a lot of the stuff that I was going to say, but McPhee genuinely is a special place. I mean, I think that we really take pride in it being our home court, and just the support that we've gotten from not only like our campus, the athletics, but also the community is just huge. It's really just genuine support that I'm really thankful for and appreciative of. It makes me get goosebumps, but as far as like going back to normal, like my normal was not switching sides, was having masks. So now this is going to be different for me. But I'm excited. It's always just fun to do new things, I guess. I'm not too worried about it. I think that goes back to the composure thing. It's going to be new for a few of us, but I mean, I think we all just have each other's backs and we're just going to keep working with it. So
I think that was good. I think you guys covered it all.
So there's a lot of talk about the veteran leadership that you had on last year's team, new season. How are you kind of seeing those leadership, new people stepping into leadership roles, and how does that kind of change for you guys this year?
Yeah, I think that's something, Sheridan mentioned it before, but there's the lead by example and learn by example, but then there's also every person that now is still on the team or that even newcomers, we talk about that. No matter what age you are, you're always leading someone, right? You might be just leading one other person, or in your position groups, you're leading someone, or on any given day it changes, right? Like a freshman might be leading a senior, depending on what drill we have or what is going on. And so, I think that it's just such a neat process to see not just the kind of the organic leadership that grows, but also as we put responsibilities on Sheridan or on Charlie that, last year they didn't have because they had somebody older than them that was doing that. But now they have those, and to see them embrace that and then, how that then elevates not only their game, but their communication with their teammates. I mean, I've seen Sheridan come out of her shell in the way that, like, she's a great player, but to have her be that communicator and be that leader is really neat. And then, you know, Charlie's our goofy one, and everybody expects her to be goofy, but then there's times where it's like, no, let's lock it in. And that's something also that, like, she has the credibility to be able to own that. They both do. And I think that's really just neat because they've earned the right to be able to do that. And I think that's something that, you know, we do that intentionally, but it's also to kind of watch that confidence grow in them is just it's really cool as a coach, and it's something that we certainly want to continue to grow. So.
Oh, can I say something?
You can.
I think on Team 52, we just had an opportunity to learn from some great leaders. I think I touched on this earlier. I was talking to Kim about it. Just like leadership is such a big part of blue gold volleyball, and even the newcomers who maybe didn't know the seniors from Team 52, that's something that like Sheridan and I are able to pass on to them, the lessons that we've learned throughout. And I think that's just a great part of the team and the culture is that we get to pass on the leadership skills. And like Kim said, like everybody gets a chance to lead, and I'm just really excited to see that happen. So, you know.
Awesome. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you so much.